After the previous example of equivalent norm, we go to the theorem. Every finite dimensional nonlinear space is complete. So first of all, what is complete? Complete means every Cauchy sequence is convergent in that space. If every Cauchy sequence in that space is convergent, then the space is complete. So let do this. Let X be a finite dimensional vector space and the dimension is n. So dimension of X, assume it is n. So obviously it has a basis, say E1, E2 and up to En. Now to show that X nonlinear space X is complete. So first of all we choose a Cauchy sequence. Say let Ym, M belongs to natural number, be a Cauchy sequence in X. So each of Ym belongs to X and it is a basis. It is a basis. So each of Ym can express with respect to that basis. So we can get alpha 1 E1, alpha 2 E2 and up to alpha n En. For relation we can put with respect to m, it is m, so we can put m, all of them m. If we put m equal to 1, so alpha 1 1, alpha 2 1, alpha n 1. If it is put is 2, so it is 2 2 2 and so on and so on. Next, it is a Cauchy sequence. Assume it is a Cauchy sequence for every epsilon greater than 0, there exists a natural number, say k, such that norm of ym minus yp, that norm is less than epsilon for all m and p greater than or equal to that k. Now ym is equal to this, so yp is equal to nothing but it is equal to alpha 1 to the power p e1, alpha 2 to the power p e2 and up to alpha n to the power p en. So take the difference. So that difference is equal to nothing but it is equal to norm of, so first one it is alpha m minus alpha p, it is with respect to I and take the summation and run over I is equal to 1 to n and it is En. So that is the difference. Now we use the linear combination method. What say that theorem says that, so it is greater than or equal to some constant c into summation over all mod alpha I to the power m, alpha I to the power p, mod I is equal to 1 to n. So linear combination theorem says that. Next it is strictly greater than or equal. If we choose just only ith term, that means we choose only one term. So it is m minus alpha to the power p. That's it. So now we go back to that relation. So we write this is nothing but it is alpha I to the power m minus alpha I to the power p. That is it is equal to c here. So c into that, it is less than epsilon for all m and p greater than is equal to k. Now we can divide with respect to that c. So it is less or equal to c. What is I? Choose I is fixed. And m and p both are greater than or equal to k. So m and p are both are varied, but I is fixed. So in that sense, now we can erase that part. So I is fixed. M and p varies. So that is nothing but it is a sequence. Alpha I to the power 1, alpha I to the power p, alpha 2, alpha I to the power 3 and so on. So it is a sequence. That sequence is nothing but alpha I to the power m. M belongs to natural number. That sequence is that relation m and p both greater than or equal to k. So that is So that is m and p both are greater than m and p both greater than equal to q. So it is a Cauchy sequence in where? In where alpha I, what is alpha I? Alpha I all are constant and X be a vector space over the field F. So that so each of alpha I belongs to the field F. So for function axis we choose that F is equal to either complex number or it is real number. So both are complete. So it is a Cauchy sequence where? It is a Cauchy sequence in either in C or in R. Both are complete. So it is a convergent sequence because it is a Cauchy sequence in F, not X. It is a Cauchy sequence in F. So it is complete because R and C both are complete. So it is Cauchy sequence in F and take it is converse to alpha I. Say it is converse to alpha I. So now I is, what is I? I is running over 1 to n. So if I equal to 1, so it is converse to alpha 1. It is I equal to 2, so converse to alpha 2. If 3, so 3 and so on. So finally, if it is I equal to n, so it is equal to converse to alpha n. So I is running over 1 to n. So I is running over 1 to n. Now we set an element y and choose y is equal to alpha 1 e1, alpha 2 e2 up to alpha n en. What is alpha 1 is nothing but that alpha 1. Alpha 2 is equal to, for I equal to we choose alpha 2 and alpha n we put here. So e1 e2 are basis element, so it is a sum and that sum is belongs to x because x is a vector space. So y, it is guaranteed y is in x. Now to show that ym is equal to alpha 1 to the power m e1 and alpha 2 m e2 alpha n en. Now to show that ym converse to y, and then hence the theorem. So we first of calculate ym minus y. Take the norm. So that norm is nothing but it is equal to first of all alpha I to the power m minus alpha I ei. It is that I is running from 1 to n. Next it is less or equal to summation I is equal to 1 to, sorry, not m, it is n. So mod of alpha I to the power m minus alpha I and norm of en. Now it is a finite sum. Each of alpha I is converse, each of alpha I to the power n converse to alpha I. So each of alpha I to the power n converse to alpha I. So that part is tends to 0 and alpha is a fixed number. Each of n is a finite sum. So entire thing is the term is converse to 0. Now it is greater than or equal to 0. So by Sandwich theorem we get yn converse to 1. That means we know that ym is a Cauchy sequence. Now it is a convergent sequence and converse to where y, that y belongs to x. So y is complete. Hence the theorem. Due to reflection, I rewrite the sequence. Alpha I to the power m belongs to natural number. It is equal to alpha I to the power 1, alpha I to the power 2, alpha I to the power 3 and so on, and it is converse to alpha I. Why it is converse to? Because each of alpha I belongs to the scalar field. Each of alpha I belongs to the scalar field. What is scalar field? Because x is a vector space over the field f and f is nothing but it is equal to either complex number or real number because both are complete. So and it is a Cauchy sequence. We already know it is a Cauchy sequence. So it is convergent and take it is converse to alpha I. What is I? I is running over 1 to n. I is running over 1 to n. That's all.